Hey, what's up? It's Frank here from DataDriven.tv, the podcast where we focus on the emerging fields of machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence. I'm here today on my way back from a trip to the Microsoft Technology Center in Reston, where I was able to deliver a speech, presentation, and demonstration to a number of students from around the world, high school students, who have come to Georgetown University to attend a summer camp of sorts on the basics of coding and data science. And I think this dovetails nicely into the recording I made last week, where, in front of a coding camp out in suburban Maryland. And, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that Georgetown is doing this with high school kids. They're opening it from kids around the world. But also that they're not just focusing on coding, because I think coding is always going to be a good career path. But, these kids are in high school, and to put things in perspective, when I was your age, it was, I think they were like juniors and seniors in high school. So we're looking at the early 90s. So think how much things have changed in the world, in our professional careers, in processing power, and what's feasible, and entertainment. Mobile phones, at the time, they were around, but they weren't like big bricks that were 5 pounds, but they were hefty kind of handsets, that's for sure. And the notion of having apps on them was just alien to anyone. I think anyone would believe it. It wasn't until 94-ish is when the Apple Newton came out, and I think Panasonic had something called Magic, or was that Sony? But the point is that, one of them, a couple of them came back to ask me to thank them. They thanked me for the presentation, which I'm glad that was entertaining for them. That they asked, some of them asked advice, what should I study? And I said, you can't go wrong. I can't say study Java, right? Because who knows if Java's going to be around in 5 years, honestly. I get a lot of hate from some Java developers when I say stuff like that. But who would have thought when JavaScript came out that it would be the dominant web programming language? I wouldn't have guessed it, because JavaScript in a lot of ways is a god-awful language. And don't hate me if you're a big JavaScript fan. If you're a big JavaScript fan, the language has warts, and sometimes that's what makes it lovable. I love and hate JavaScript with equal fervor. But I just said, I said two things. One, pick something that you like to do that's hard to do. What I mean by that is, mathematics, electrical engineering. Most people are going to be intimidated by those subjects. You can't go wrong with math. You can't go wrong with electrical engineering. In fact, I actually said, it's like, I kind of wish I had taken electrical engineering because, I'd be able to work on the electric stuff in my house, because I'd have a better understanding of electricity. But as well as, getting, to be able to do computer science too. In fact, actually, historically, I don't know if it's still true, that the best paid people in Silicon Valley, et cetera, were double E's, electrical engineers. But the point is that if you can do things that other people can't do, you are at a competitive advantage because you're rare, right? And it has to be things that people want to do. Our society is run by technology. 100 years ago, it was run by effectively oil. Now, oil is still important. Don't need to remind people of that. But the idea is that data is kind of becoming the thing. And I love the fact that they called it coding and data science. Because the line between the two, there is a line. It's a little bit fuzzier than I think most people would admit. But the idea that they get their heads thinking about data and how to code against data, right? The time when you could create a website and be a millionaire, yeah, I wouldn't say it's gone, but it's not 1996 anymore, right? With an app, right? Achieve fame and wealth through just an app. It's not 2008 anymore. It's 2018. Data is the new hotness, and I think that's really. I love the fact that they're focusing on that. And that, in fact, actually, the only thing that concerns me about these coding camps, now I realize there's the kids, is that they're focusing just on the coding, right? It's a good skill to have, to be sure. But how do you... I think it goes back to what that guy said. I'm blanking on his name right now, so I apologize, sir. But it's really about how do people... You have to teach the fundamentals, right? It's all about analytical thought. The kid was brilliant, man. I was like, well, it's really good down analytical thought. Like, can you break down and kind of work through a problem? Anyone can do it, just nobody does. And I kind of give the example, I could have a physique like The Rock. Most people could. Do I? No. I mean, for those of you watching this on video, you know that I don't. Although I am having great luck with keto. And perhaps Andy and I will do a show just on that. But I mean, the point is that you have to do the things that are hard, right? And be good at those things, because that's what people are not, en masse, are not going to be disciplined enough to do it. It's something Gary Vaynerchuk, author of Crush It and Crushing It, one of the things he says, he likes boring and dull. And that's like an odd thing for such a high energy guy. He says, because boring and dull means no one's going to do it. And that puts him at a significant advantage because he's willing to do the boring and dull stuff. The context of it is something I don't want to blow out this data point for. But I just want to say, I think these kids, granted the sample size was maybe biased because these are really well educated, well motivated kids who are at this camp. But I think the future's in good hands. I think they brought us some interesting questions. We had a great conversation. They loved my demo. That, as a presenter, that always makes me happy. But I think it was a great chance to kind of get a feel for what kids who grew up in this app-driven society, what are their shifts, what are their paradigm shifts. I hate using paradigm shift because it's such an overused term. But what are their thought processes when they see that the world is not going to be just app-driven, but it's going to be data-driven? Which is an awesome name for a podcast, by the way, as well as an awesome name for a Facebook page. So if you're watching this, then you probably already know we stream these data points live on Facebook. And if you are listening to this, then you should head on over to our Facebook page and like us, so you'll be notified when I do go live. Because sometimes you get some interesting bloopers, and sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're just, odd connectivity issues like I had today. And with that, you have a great day.